in the same house. I just want you to know that this relationship wasn't always there. And I also want you to know that this relationship will not always be there. We have very little time together. We don't have a lot of time together. And very soon, you're going to become an adult. You're on the way to becoming an adult. It's not very far away. In fact, when you were a baby till now feels like a month. Like blink my eyes and you became this thing. And before you know it, you're going to be an adult, you're going to go to university, you're going to get a job, you're going to get married. All these things are going to happen, inshallah, if Allah wills. And when that happens, it's not going to be like this. You're not going to come home to me. You're not going to spend time with me. You're going to have your job, your family, your wife, your husband, whatever. You're going to have your own life. So the time that we do have together is very limited. And even in that time, you've got school, I've got work, I've got groceries to do, so we have like 20 minutes in a day where we can actually have a conversation. We have very little time actually together. And when you get older, the thing you will remember about me are those few moments we have together. Because we don't have 24 hours together. We just don't. So now, the first thing I want you to know is that I barely know you. I barely know. I know we live together, but I barely know you. You know why? Because no human being can truly know another human being. You don't tell me everything you're thinking, and I don't tell you everything that I'm thinking. But there's someone who knew you even when you were nothing to me. And someone who loved you even when nothing in this creation loved you. No one in this creation loved you. And someone who will have a relationship with you even though my relationship with you is going to change. Many of the adults sitting here, even me as a dad, I know my relationship with my dad when I was a kid was different, and my relationship with him when I was in college was different, and my relationship with him now is completely different. Even though we're the same people, our relationship has completely changed. But there is someone who has loved you and has protected you and has planned for you and has taken care of you from the beginning, and will always do so. And that's not me. I'm just an episode in your life. I'm not more than that. It's a beautiful episode that Allah gave you and me together, but it's not a permanent episode. That's the first thing I want you to know. The second thing I want you to know is when I tell you to pray or tell you to do something, you feel like I'm controlling you. I'm bossing you around. I'm telling you what to do. I want you to know something. I can't control you. I can give you advice. I can be strict with you sometimes. That's true. But pretty soon you're going to get old enough where no matter how hard I yell and no matter how much I raise my voice and how frustrated I get, it won't matter because you're going to make your own choices. You're going to say, okay, Dad, I'll talk to you later. Okay, I gotta go. I got another call. And you're just going to hang up on me and you're going to do your own thing. And in fact, most of the time, I will not have any control over the choices you make. In fact, when you're at school and you're hanging out with your friends and you're talking to your friends, I don't control any of those conversations. And if I've already given you an iPad or a phone or whatever, and you're communicating with your friends, I have no control over the kinds of communications you're having. And even if I put parenting control apps on these devices, I still can't control what you're really thinking and what you're really doing. I can have some control, but I have very limited control. But there's someone who controlled every cell in your body, who controlled the microscopic fluid that you were, that made it inside the womb of your mother, that controlled the genetic sequence with which you would be created, the color of your skin, the way your hair looks, your eyes, the way your mind works, how tall and short you were going to. He controlled everything. He actually has control, I don't. I'm reminded of something the Prophet ﷺ told his daughter Fatima radiallahu anha. He said, Ya Fatima bint Muhammad, ittaqillah fa inni la amliku laki min Allahi shay'a. Fatima, daughter of Muhammad, be mindful of Allah. I will have no authority with Allah in your case. Which brings me to my next point. Because I don't have control, the truth is, as protective as I am of you and I want you to do good, I don't control that and I'm not responsible for it either. Allah made every human being responsible for themselves. No, you see that if you get a driver's license one day and you cut a traffic light and the cop pulls you over, You're not going to say, can you talk to my dad? That's not good. You're going to have to deal with that yourself. When your university professor is going to fail you in the class, you're going to say, hold on, let me call my mom. Nope, you're responsible yourself. In the court of law, you're responsible yourself. At the university, you're responsible for yourself. At your job, you're responsible for yourself. For your health, what you put in your body, you're responsible for yourself. For putting yourself in danger and hurting yourself, you're responsible for yourself. The older you're getting, the more freedom you have, the more responsible for yourself you are. You cannot be controlled by anyone, and no one else is responsible for you. لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى. Nobody will carry anybody else's burden. I am actually not responsible for you, because Allah will, and on Judgment Day, absolutely, every one of us will come in front of Allah alone. Right now we're together, we live together, we're a family, we hug each other, I love you to death, I think about you all the time. But there's a day coming where we're going to be just as alone as we ever were in our existence. In fact, even if you come running to me at Judgment Day, it could happen that I'm going to run away from you. I don't know you, get away from me. I got my own issues right now. Because my relationship with you was these few microseconds compared to my relationship with Allah, which is a much bigger relationship. It's a lot older and it's going to last a lot longer, right? And I have to deal with that relationship right now on Judgment Day. So this relationship, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَبِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ, and all those ayat. A person will run from his mother, his father, his children, his siblings, his spouse. Some of you say running from the spouse, I already do that. Okay, anyway. So, the next thing I want you to know is that I need to feel that you respect me. I need to feel that you love me. Just like you need to feel like I care about you. When you love someone, you kind of have some needs from them. You need for me to make sure that the house is taken care of. You need to make sure, my responsibility, you need from me that the electricity bills are paid and the heating is working. And you need for me to make sure that you can get to school. You need to make sure, for me to make sure that you have clothes. Those are my responsibilities. And I need to make sure that I feel some respect from you and regard from you and obedience from you. I get that. But the relationship you have with Allah is different. You have a lot of needs from Him. He has no needs from you. He doesn't need you at all, actually. He doesn't need anyone or anything. And let's just talk about you. When you say, why do I need to pray? Why does Allah need me to pray? Allah doesn't need for you to do anything. It's not about Him at all. Allah even says, when nothing will remain. Let me just give you an example from the Quran. When nothing will remain in this universe. Let's talk about that about the glory of Allah for a second. Recently I was in Qatar during the World Cup. And the team that wins, so Argentina wins. And it's a glorious event. And they're being celebrated as champions, right? But imagine if the athlete was being celebrated, but there was no crowd, no cameras, no stadium, nothing. A guy lives on his own on an island, and he kicks a ball into a goal and says, "Glory!" and nobody's there. That sounds psychotic, doesn't it? To have glory, you need to have an audience. To be acknowledged, you need to have people around, somebody to acknowledge. To have praise, to have appreciation, you can't have appreciation by yourself. You gotta have someone doing it for you. But Allah says, كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. He says, everything will stop existing on this earth, and yet the face of your Rabb will remain and it will still possess glory. Allah is the only one who is glorious even when there's no one glorifying Him. Only one. Anybody else needs somebody else to do it. So Allah does not need my prayers. Allah doesn't need me to eat halal chicken. Allah doesn't need me to not say bad. He doesn't need any of that from me. So just get that thought out of your head that somehow you're doing anybody a favor. Allah even says, يَمُنُّونَ عَلَيْكَ أَنْ أَسْلَمُوا. They think they're doing you a favor by accepting Islam. You know? Allah said, لَا تَمُنُّوا عَلَيَّ إِسْلَامَكُمْ. Don't tell me that you're doing me a favor with your Islam.